Hello and welcome to the day.
Thank you for spending your time with us.
I'm Jake.
I'm Joel. Welcome back to another episode of Jake and Joel Are Magic. Continue the Pioneer series.
We are definitely on the back half here.
Oh man, we are trying to get onto the back nine of this golf course, and I think we have arrived. Jake, are you excited?
Dude, I'm excited, man. I'm excited to talk about a bunch of cheap cards today, but before we can do that, just go down, click like, click subscribe. If you're enjoying the Pioneer Sleeper series, give us some feedback.
Yeah, we would appreciate it. Only if you're logged in, though. If you're not logged in, sit back and subscribe. We're not trying to get anybody to validate an email with a website. But if you're already logged in, go ahead and click like. Click a button. It's so easy.
It's so easy and it helps us out.
It really, really does. Jake, let's get into the cards and look at the glory of Glorybringer in Amonkhet. We are covering Amonkhet in this video, and the caveat to the whole series, like we've said in every video, these are the sleeper picks. We're not picking the cards that are already $10, $15, $20. We're picking the cards trying to. It's getting real late in the series, but we're trying to pick the cards that are like $1, $2, $3 that we think are going to explode. Jake, you think Glorybringer is going to be one of those cards?
Yeah, and before we talk about Glorybringer really quick, I just want to say this set, like Battle for Zendikar, like Oath of the Gatewatch, Kaladesh,
yes,
and Aether Revolt, was a set with masterpieces. Yeah. Now, granted, these invocations were they were greeted with mixed reviews. A lot of people didn't like them.
Sure.
But again, you could get an invocation version of Force of Will, right, and other really good staples. So a lot of these cards have been printed into the ground. So it's a good time to get in. And there's a lot of room for growth because most of them are at the floor.
It was very difficult for Jake and I to pick cards that we thought would have a lot of growth in this set, because when we would go and search the cards that we thought were no-brainers, they were 35 cents. And it kind of blew our mind. And then we were like, oh, well, no, this was a heavily open set like Battle for Zendikar. Even though the masterpieces or whatever they're called in this set weren't as highly sought after and highly received, these cards are still very cheap because the set got opened a ton. However, yes, Glorybringer, when it was in standard, this card was the dope noise.
Yeah, this card was really good. We don't really need to say much about Glorybringer other than it was big in standard. It's flying haste if you exert it, which means that it won't untap during its next untap step. It comes with a built-in, flame swipe or 4 damage to target creature. So it's really, really good. And I think, in like a green-red beats, if something like that were to pop up, this could be a card. I mean, it 2-for-1s,
Exactly.
So it's a really nice card. It's something to think about, and hopefully it doesn't get hit with an insane ban.
It's a hasty 4 damage to a creature at instant speed that, well, not at instant speed, but on a hasty creature that will then remain on the battlefield, and I think that's huge. Gideon of the Trials is next, and this card at the very, very bottom, the last 3 words read, win the game.
Yeah, and as long as you control it, you can't lose the game and your opponents can't win the game.
Yeah.
So it's a card that right now commands a price point of about $3. So there's really nowhere for this card to go other than up. It's a card that has been played in Modern. I don't really know if it's tinkered with much in Legacy. I'm sure some people have played around with it, but it's not really known for that. But in a format like Pioneer that's wide open, this is another 3-cost walker, and in the right shell, it could be really, really oppressive, and that's why it's on this list.
As long as you control a Gideon Planeswalker, I feel like we talked about Gideon Ally of someplace I can't even remember in a past video. After that, we got Chandler Initiate, which is one of my choices. It is a 2-cost mana dork. It does come in as a 0/1 because of the -1/-1 counters, but it is a 2-cost mana dork that, as you tap it for mana, gains power and toughness and relevancy in your attacking game in a green
your late game. Your late game.
Right.
Yeah, it's like in your mid to late, the counters on this thing are off. You've already ramped into what you're trying to ramp in with, and or ramp into.
Right.
And then having a 3/4 beater, like just at the end of the game that started off on a mana dork, yeah, it seems good.
Yeah, exactly. That's the entire reason it's on this list. And Prowling Serpapard, this card is on this list because it says can't be countered. Creature spells can't be countered.
Yeah, can't be countered is the thing. We haven't really seen a big control deck appear, but to think that control isn't going to emerge in Pioneer at all is kind of silly. So this is an excellent card for green. Anything that says can't be countered on it, it's worth consideration. And being a 4/3 for 3, I mean, it's a nice beater too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's obviously a sideboard card. Right now, the format, is very linear because the removal in this set is not, living at the one mana converted mana cost like it is with Modern, with Lightning Bolt, with Fatal Push, with Path to Exile. But you have the ability to get around control decks if they ever absolutely break out with Serpapard. Absolutely. After that, we got Salmon, Voice of Dissent. Jake, how many keywords can we fit on a Gruul card?
I guess not enough, but I mean, Flash. It's on here because of Flash. Flash is really, really nice because you could do it at your opponent's EOT, and in the right shell, you've probably ramped into this as early as like turn 3 or 4, and then you have a double striker with Vigilance and Haste. So it's dropping in, and if you have a way to protect it, it's most likely, say they're swinging, okay? You're killing anything on the first strike with 3 butt or less that comes with this card. And then it's ready to swing with Vigi like the next turn. It's really, really nice. And then also it's giving other creatures you control haste on the following turn. Oh, yeah. So for a card that's commanding a price point of like 79 cents to $1 right now, like this is really, really, really low for a lot of value, and it's a card that was kind of overlooked. Obviously in Modern, it's not playable in Modern or Legacy because those formats are just too fast. Yeah. But it is so good, man.
Yep. Absolutely.
And I know I'm covering up the
No,
toughness.
You don't have to worry about that. I think the thing that'll keep this out of the format is the 5 converted, but it is possible, especially since it has Flash and it's legendary. You're not going to play 4 copies of this, and it could be played for that. Next up is maybe my favorite card from this entire set, Approach of the Second Sun. I won many a standard game with this card when it was in standard. Not with a control deck, but with a fog deck. I love this card. This card is so under $1 right now because
it's like 50 cents.
Right. Because as you said, this whole set was so opened. And this card you only run like 2, maybe 3. And even that's at the higher end. You just want to
maybe the argument here is for the foils. But again, we haven't seen a control deck pop up, and I think this is one of those cards where you put it in a fog deck. A fog deck took down the first PTQ, and I think if you put a card like Approach of the Second Sun in there, it just adds this layer of inevitability. It's like the kind of thing where it's like your opponent is just like, we really need to deal with this, or else, like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, exactly. Even if it gets countered, you're casting it the second time, you're good to go. You do want to run at least 2. And so from a finance standpoint, it's a 2 of in a deck in case one gets countered. But, it remains fantastic. Talk about another fantastic card is Aven Mind Sensor.
Sideboard tech.
Oh, sideboard tech like so crazy. Good. You're going to be searching your library. Hey, by the way, no, you're not.
Yeah. Yeah, you just have to hope here that your opponent doesn't pick the cards up and start rifling through too quick. Yeah. But it is a great card. It's a wonderful sideboard card. And, Joel, this has to be less than $1.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is. Because the thing is that it didn't catch on in Modern. And in Pioneer, you don't have fetch lands. So that would be the biggest thing that it's shutting down. And that's why it's definitely a sideboard tech. Because it's going to shut down whatever big search your library strategy emerges first.
Yeah, and it also shuts down ramp. So like if people are trying to ramp, it's like, you can look through the top 4 to see if you find the lands that you want. So exactly. from that perspective, I think it's very it's very fair.
Yeah, you end up going good luck. Lord of the Accursed is next, and this is, if you've been following this series, very in line with our tribal theme on this series. Lord of the Accursed. Other zombies get +1/+1. All zombies gain menace for 2 and a tap.
It's always fair when one of these lords costs 3. That's just like every lord that I can think of, like except for the Merfolk lord, is like normally it costs like 3.
Right.
I mean, I guess no, there's like 2 cost lords. I'm probably gonna end up eating my words on that one, but I think the card is really, really nice. And if you were getting this, I would try to get the foils of it, because if zombies do emerge, this is like the kind of card that people are gonna look for.
Exactly, and that's the thing. This is an uncommon in a heavily opened set. So you are only, from a finance perspective, you're only wanting the foils. But this is a card to look out for if a zombie tribal deck could possibly emerge. That brings us back around to Glorybringer and to the end of our Amonkhet Pioneer Sleeper series. Jake, we're on the back 9. We're trying to get there.
We're getting there, and I to everybody who's enjoyed the Pioneer Sleeper series, thanks so much for checking it out. We have enjoyed making it, and we are going to trudge on through. We're going to get through this.
Absolutely. Hit like and subscribe if you like it. Hit dislike if you don't. Any button will do if you're logged in. If you're not logged in, just sit back and relax. If you want to support us further, we've got a Patreon. The link is down in the description below. And don't forget, we are streaming twice a week, Tuesday and Thursday nights, over on Twitch. Jake, you got anything else?
It's just so much. It's just so many things.
Yeah, it's so many cards. It's so many things. The biggest thing to remember is that Epstein didn't kill himself. I will catch you later. Jake, bye.
Oh my gosh.